Hi,
Hello.
Tiffany.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for popping on here with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to catch up and see how things have been going.
Yeah. Yeah. Things are going. Things are going.
Good.
It's
That's
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah,
good.
it's
Okay.
been it's been a roller coaster, but it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it can be that way for sure, but
Yeah.
wouldn't change it for anything. So,
Well,
got to take the
that's
good with the bad sometimes.
right. That's what I'm hoping for, be able to look back and be like, okay, it was all well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Just going to kind of follow that same question thing that I emailed you. Do you have
Okay.
any questions before we get started?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think that should be it. I mean,
Okay.
it's yeah. We'll see how it goes.
All right, sounds good. And I lost my voice last week, so but I didn't want to cancel these, so I just thought a little straining my voice a little bit, but
Oh
if I
no.
sound weird, that's why.
Okay, no big deal. You sound fine.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, let's just like dive in and get started. I guess what I always like to start with is to find out, what made you want to do this in the first place? What is kind of your reasoning for wanting to start your bookkeeping business?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, are you ready?
Take it away. Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I started my bookkeeping business is I was an accountant in the corporate world. I was a manufacturing controller. And just the daunting hours, 45, 60 hours a week when it came to budget season, year end. And it was, the more I kept getting better at my job, the more responsibilities kept coming on me.
Mm,
But the pay wasn't coming.
yeah.
So it was kind of like I built myself up so high that I kind of started sitting back and saying, where's the work life balance? And that's what it came down to of trying to figure out how to do a work life balance. Then I started seeing your programs come by and talk about bookkeeping, of how to have that work life balance and being able to grow to a six-figure income and still have that work life balance. So that is my goal. And that is what my why is, to be able to have that work life balance. I
Awesome.
feel like I've missed out on a lot on my stepdaughters,
Mm,
as they grow up. And so now it's my husband wants to retire in 4 years. So we want to be able to go and
mm,
do things. And so, that is one thing that I want to be able to do, is be able to pack up and go
yeah.
when I'm ready to go. So
Yeah. That's awesome that you've kind of planned this out a little bit in anticipation for that because that's, perfect timing. By that point, not only could you have this flexibility with your bookkeeping business, but even in like a 4 years time span, potentially have an entire team that's kind of running things for you.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's
So
that's awesome because there's like weeks that go by in my business, then I only work about 15 hours a week, and the team is like carrying a lot of it. So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's really nice to be able to do that. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I was in that same boat too, working my way up in the CPA firm and going back to school and doing all that studying for the test. And it was like just this huge awakening when I just got the like worst raise ever after passing my CPA license. And I thought, why am I doing this? Like working for somebody else so hard. If I just put that effort into my own business for a little while, then it, becomes something where you get the constant rewards of it.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
we were talking a little bit too at the beginning that sometimes when you first start, it can be a little bit overwhelming. You still feel like you're putting in that extra time and things like that. It can be hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But what's great about your business is once you get to certain milestones and goals that you have for yourself, you can make seasons out of it. So there's been lots of times where I'm like, hustle, hustle, hustle. I feel like I'm working a lot. And then I reach this goal that I have. And then I'm like, okay, for the next like 3 months, I'm just going to coast. and just
Yeah.
do whatever bare minimum that I want to do and just be happy and content with that. And then it's like, then you really realize, oh man, I have all this free time. I have all this, flexibility, and that you can kind of leverage. So,
Yeah, and that's the one thing, like, my husband and I just were talking about, like, I feel like I'm pedaling and pedaling and pedaling, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start to get rewarded. And in
yeah,
the beginning of my business, I was pedaling, pedaling, and now I'm starting to get rewarded and
awesome.
get clients. And then, but it's just like I'm still pedaling for
Mhm.
more clients, more, I have the ones that I have onboarded. So now I need to get more clients in order to keep growing that. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're doing it by yourself, when you're the only person in your
Mhm.
firm and you still have goals to grow, it does kind of just consistently feel that way, that you're just, constantly go, go, go. But if you're okay with stopping and pausing for a little bit and just like smelling the roses or whatever, but I know that's hard. And I can see that
Yes.
for like goal oriented people, it's very hard to just stop and be content. Really, the only times that I've done that in my life is when I had to because of my kids or something. Like when I was pregnant with the twins and I had them, I had to pull back from my
Yeah.
business. I didn't have a choice because I just didn't have the time or energy to push, you know.
Yeah.
But then once you actually start building a team, then you are able to do that at the same time, simultaneously still growing and reaching your goals because your team is helping you push. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get more.
So, yeah, and that's what I mean, my husband and I talked about, like, okay, so what does it take to build a team? And right now at this point in time, I'm like, I need an income first. And then we'll talk about doing a team. But, we were just talking about the strategy of what does that look like? How does that plan out? What does that figure, what does that income look like in order to build the team? What does it have to be like, in order to hire somebody, even maybe, a couple hours a week to be
Mhm.
able to take some stress off of myself to be able to grow the marketing side and all that kind of stuff and continue to keep growing the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was having a conversation with another student yesterday about this too. When you kind of get to a situation where you're not quite ready for a full-time person
Mhm.
because you need that income in your business, then you have kind of two options. Do you want to hire a part-time person to help you for a while? Or is there something else you could do to help leverage your time? So,
Yeah.
for instance, this other student, she's actually going to hire someone to help at home a little bit more. So that way she can streamline stuff with her business, continue to grow
Yeah.
it, and get to the point where then she can focus on bringing a full-time, dedicated, like A player person to her team, and then not have to worry about, somebody that's part-time, half in, half out. Maybe they know what they're doing, maybe they don't,
Right.
type of thing. So that's
Yeah.
something to think about too.
So that was like, that's part of it. Like, how many clients do I need in order to make that next step is the other part,
Mhm.
Yeah, and how soon. And so yeah, so I started the academy in March. I signed in March, but I left my corporate job in July. Like, I literally just,
Mhm.
budget season was coming, and I said I needed to just take the leap in faith and just go with it. And to be able to spend time to look for clients and to be able to network, and that's a big thing of taking time to network and let people get to know you, trust you, and like you. And once was able to start doing that, then that's when I started to see
Yeah.
um, more clients come and approach me about bookkeeping. Not saying that I got them all, but
Yeah, sometimes they don't come on right away, but when you do that networking, the more they see you out and about, the more they realize that you're a constant, figure in their life, then it usually becomes eventually they sign up, which is good.
well, yeah, and then the other thing is that when people see that it is like your true business, that like
Mhm.
your main focus, it's not like, I took notice, some clients were nervous to sign on with me. They're like, well, what happens if you don't leave your corporate job at this time, And I
Mhm.
was like, well, I still will be able to do it, but because it is flexible to be able to do things in the evening and that kind of stuff. But I've had a few of them just say, well, I'm not really sure, what happens if you decide to stay in the corporate world? And, so my husband and I talked about it. It was just time for me to take the leap and to say, we're going to go 110% into the business. So that's what we did.
Awesome. So it's been about like 4 months since you did that?
5 months, July. So November was 5 months. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So do you feel like that's been a good decision so far?
Some days yes, and some days no. It depends what days it is, but yes. I mean, it is to be able to get my health back, just to be able to, so now I'm able to, instead of going to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, now I'm able to go to the gym at like 5:30 in the morning, and then still be able to be at my desk by 8 o'clock or be at a meeting by 8 o'clock or something like that. And then just be able to rearrange my schedule more and to be able to have that flexibility,
Mhm.
to take a breath when I need to take a breath.
Yeah.
So there are days where I'm just like, oh, I miss my corporate income, but I don't miss my corporate schedule.
Yes, totally. Do you
Yeah.
feel, do you have like a game plan of like when you think you're going to reach that spot where you've replaced your corporate income?
So right now, I'm kind of subcontracting without a contract. I'm going and doing the company's payroll right now, and I'm converting them to QuickBooks Online to their desktop right now. And so, right now, I'm probably about one fourth, probably about a quarter of my income, a little more than a quarter of my salary from my corporate income. But once they sign and I get the whole kit and caboodle, the APAR, payroll, and the bookkeeping side,
Mhm.
I'll be 50% of my income from my corporate world will be recouped.
Awesome.
So yeah, so next year at this time, my goal is to have 100%, if not more, of um my salary to be recouped.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So with the clients that you have now, and when you onboard this new one, and it's going to take you to 50%, what is the time commitment going to look like for you? Do you think to complete all the work, not marketing and stuff, but just like servicing these clients?
Yeah. So on a time basis right now, I network Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I work at my office, and which is at home, um, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Fridays I'm usually done by 3 o'clock. So if I'm putting in like 20 hours a week right now, like that's a high number. Like, and that includes like big cleanups because I have a big company right now I'm bringing on that's a big cleanup. But after I get them cleaned up, I mean, if I'm working 12 to 15 hours a week,
Yeah,
um, that will be, and the company that I'm bringing on, I plan to only work 5 hours a week when there are books.
nice.
So, so 20 to 25 hours a month on them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So I would say right with what I have right now, if I work 15 hours a week, 15 to 17 hours a week, if that.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a lot more room. So
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be able to bring more clients in, and like you said, once I start to get more clients, I won't need to market as much.
Mhm.
I'll still have my networking that I'll still do because I'm in BNI and that's a commitment. I belong to the Chamber of Commerce, and I belong to another networking all women's group.
Nice.
Um, so with between the three of them, there's still commitments, but um, going full board of like sending out lots of emails and that kind of stuff, I probably won't have to do that near as much
Mhm.
once so the plan is to back off on my Tuesdays, gather that day up, and
Yeah.
then switch my hours around. But I don't want to be more than 35 hours a week when
Mhm.
I have a full
Mhm.
load.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's
Yeah.
good. Cool. Very cool. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your background. I know you said you were in corporate accounting. Can you tell us a little bit about what your education was for that? And then also, I'm curious from your perspective, how you feel like that job translates to bookkeeping, like where it's the same, but where it's different.
Yeah. So, I went and got my undergrad with financial management. And then I ended up going out and getting an basic accounting job, just taking care of in the banking industry. Very, taking care of reconciliations, doing kind of like bookkeeping, like
Hmm.
doing journal entries and that kind of stuff. And then from there, I rolled into manufacturing, and then that's when I started doing budgetings and that kind of stuff. Um, and that once again, like just doing the month end close and all that kind of stuff. Invoicing, and AP, AR, and then, like I said, budgets and reconciliations every month. So then it rolled into there. And then from there, I kept growing. And then I went and got my master's in accounting. And then that's when I became a controller. So that was when so I no longer took care of the AP, AR. I did some reconciliations, but it was more on a high level of taking care of the budgets, the reconciliations, all the higher end stuff. Not so much my hands weren't into much the books. I mean, they were in the books, but I wasn't doing the work any longer. I was more reviewing reports and stuff like that. And that's what I missed about once you get up to that level, you stop doing the work.
Hmm.
And so, how different is it? I would say it's not really different. I When I gave my resignation as a controller, some people looked at it and said, "Why are you taking yourself down below of where you're going to, like where you are now?" And I said, "Well, I don't feel like I am because I'll be making just as much money."
Hmm.
So yeah, so doing reconciliations, bookkeeping, AP, AR, and payroll are the same things that accountants do at a manufacturing or any kind of accounting role. So for me, it wasn't a big change.
That's,
So it's coming out of, so I kind of I understand the debits and credits and how to do all that kind of stuff. So that part isn't, um, a whole lot of change for me, but it's just the different industries, everything's a little different, of different clients that I have, um, and talking to different business people of how they think compared to how an accountant thinks.
yeah.
So it's just fun. I mean, it's fun to do, but yeah, so with my background, it made sense to myself and my husband to jump out, and that's kind of why we did it. So we did the kind of the jump of faith of just saying, hey, let's just go and do it, because I had the background to
Hmm.
start a bookkeeping business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad that your experience and your background did help prepare you for some of the work. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's not that, it's not like bookkeepers need to have the background to do it, because it can be taught. And there are questions that I put out to the group a lot of times, um because of business owners think one way, or they read a book and it says that it should be done this way, and then when you go and really explain to them what it really means,
Yeah.
then they're like, "Oh, is that what that really meant?"
Hmm.
So it's kind of good that way. But I mean, everything that I know has been on job training besides my education.
Hmm.
So yeah, just doing the job, you learn
Yeah.
and asking questions.
Yep. Absolutely. Love that. Okay. So what has your journey been like since enrolling in the academy and getting this started? What has that looked like for you?
So when I started the academy, of course, I need to know everything. Like I need to learn everything first before I jump. But with having my background, I kind of jumped through the academy at certain spots where I wasn't sure, like what strong, like marketing, because I'm not a marketer.
Hmm.
And how do I do that? And what do I do? Contracts, that kind of stuff, all that that kind of stuff, I kind of jump to, that's the nice thing about the academy is you can kind of jump, around and go to what you need help with. So as I was going through the academy, I launched my business. I went and got my own LLC. I went and got, I started doing all those things. And then once I got my LLC, I was telling people as I was waiting for my LLC to come back to me that I was starting this because I was like, if I don't tell people, no one's going to know that I'm in business.
Right.
So, but with the academy, it was just nice because just go into the Facebook group and be able to ask questions like what the contracts look like. I think my contract changed 4 times until I finally settled on the one I really like now, the one I use today.
Hmm.
And it was just by talking and, listening in the group, that I send my agreement, my quote, my agreement all in one. It's one email. I talk to the person, give them a quote, and they see their quote. And if they don't agree with it, I reorganize it or whatever we discuss. But if they like it, they sign it and bring it right back to me. So it's all in one, like their authorization and everything. So that took me a couple of times to go through to get there. But it was just by going through the academy and listening on the listen and learns during the day or in the evenings. That was a lot of learning experiences there. And then also just of how to handle things in QuickBooks and questions that you had with QuickBooks. But the whole academy, having the Facebook group and being able to call in and talk to a mentor has been like a great thing. Even if you don't have any questions, just to listen
Hmm.
to what's going on to somebody else's business, because you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, okay, that makes sense to me now because I've come across that. It makes sense. Yes, I'm doing it right, or oh, maybe I need to think of it this way. So it's always been good at that. I'm kind of nervous when I have to give up, even though like I'm an accountant and I've been in the accounting world, just having that comfort of being able to throw questions out
Hmm.
um, is a good thing. So that's the thing is I was like, oh, when my year's up, I'm like nervous to leave the academy.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we hope that you don't
Yeah.
stay in and just renew. And of course, you're already in the restaurant mastermind as well. So
Yes.
there will be, other things that we can help you with and work on into stuff like that afterwards.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah. So I guess I'm extended with the mastermind class. I'm extended to July technically. And then
yeah.
like you said, if I would like to renew. So that's just good to know.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, I always love doing these interviews because it gives me so much insight into your goals, but also what your struggles are, because everybody has those in business and they're all different because they're all tied into each individual goal, but also each person's individual knowledge and experience level. So everybody's business at this point starts to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, being able to help and tailor your business the way you want it to look as you scale and grow, that's one thing that we like helping with and as you move on. So,
Yeah. That's the nice thing about it. It's as everybody, because everybody's on the call, could be on a call and it could be like people that just entered into the academy or people that are, have been in for a year or 9 months or 7 months. So it's kind of nice that way.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to see how everyone's journeys are similar, but also different and
Mhm.
unique. And you can learn from, something that somebody else did. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. That's a nice thing is like you can see people who grow their business like very, very fast and successful, or you can see their struggles and then all of a sudden their business has gone like really, really successful,
Yeah.
or some people that are very successful and they have to pull back because they don't want to grow their business that much just because of what their goals are in life. So, but yeah, so that's the nice thing about being in the academy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you worked on your mindset? Have you come across anything where you felt like that's something you needed to focus on?
Yep. So with me being my personality and like being in the corporate world, as you probably know, like everybody gives you these analytical tests of like your mind and what your personality is. Well, of course, I'm a very much of a goal setter as an accountant, and I'm everything has its list and check marks and ready. I have to hit my goals, and if I don't hit my goals, like it's kind of like, oh my goodness, I failed. So that was a huge mindset change that I had to do because it was a whole different pace. Like it's me having to deal with me and my goals. So everything's different in this world. Yes, I have to go and get clients and all that kind of stuff, but if I don't go get those clients, I can't make them sign. That's the other part. I can't make them sign. So that's that is where I had to change my mindset to that I'm capable of doing this business. It's going to be okay to fail at times when things don't go the right way. Um, and also just enjoying the process. That was the other thing I had to learn. Being grateful for what I have and that everybody has their own journey.
Mhm.
And, it's mother nature to compare to other people. So, you sit in academy, you hear this person's successful, this person, goes to BNI and they're getting $20,000 of reoccurring after, 2 months of being there. And you started BNI at the same time. And you're like, well, why isn't it happening to me? But that's the part I also had to work on. I started doing like gratitude every morning, things to be like a book for gratitude. I actually have an app that I do gratitude every morning. I had to read books in order to help me to, settle my mind on my mindset of, that this is going to be a successful business and it's just going to take the steps to get there.
Mhm.
And everybody, because I have such a high expectation of myself, that's
Mhm.
another thing I, have a struggle with. So, and just trying to figure out like the steps to be able to do that. And reading books and listening to a lot of podcasts have been helpful.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that can be one challenging thing in the academy because we do share wins. We want everyone to constantly be like talking about their wins,
Hmm.
for self-motivation, but to also motivate others and to show that, hey, keep going because this will happen to you. But it does become sometimes a little challenging for people to try not to compare. Like, why am I not growing that fast? But then they also don't always see, like you mentioned, the people that were struggling 2, 3, 4 months ago. So, that's something that you can't always see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. I know a lot of the students that I interview say that too, that they have to shift their mindset to being thinking about the positives. With being a business owner, I have noticed too that that is something I've really had to work on because in a corporate job, from time to time, if you have a decent job, you do get rewarded or you get praised,
Mhm.
either by a promotion or just a pat on the back from your boss or your coworkers. But when you're a business owner, you don't have that anymore. So
Yeah.
you almost have to give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah. Yeah. Those little rewards, like, okay, like, go in to get your nails done or something like that and be like, okay, I deserve this. I worked hard.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I love
Yeah.
that.
And just, and manifesting of your thoughts is another thing. I mean, like if you say that you're going to have a successful business and then that's what you're going to have, that's what you think and that's what it happens. And I've learned that too by reading the books, and the group has been very helpful with that, talking, you know, going to the calls on Mondays and Fridays and listening to the coaches, the mindset coaches, and saying and how to change your mindset. So that's been very helpful even with the academy of learning how to manifest your thoughts, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yep, I love that. Absolutely. So, do you want to get into numbers? Do you want to share what your earnings
Sure.
have been? I'd love to kind of know maybe what your reoccurring is now, but also cleanup jobs. I love to give people example of like, what to expect if they get cleanup jobs and, you know.
Yeah.
Adds up.
So, so the first month I was only, when I left my corporate job, I was only making $790 a month based off of my two, I had two small, when I had one large client. When I say large client, I mean, it's $700 a month.
Hmm.
And then I have a real small client, a very small client. She's an insurance person and she has sales and very little expenses. So I couldn't charge her. I was only charging her $100 a month, you know? But, and then as it went on, my second client was another small client. And so another $100. And then finally I got two clients in 1 month. And so that one, my one client was 1,100 and their cleanup was $500 because they had their books all cleaned up. Well, let's put it
Nice.
this way. Someone asked yesterday, what is the difference between cleanup and back work? So I've learned what back work and cleanup, the difference is. When
Mhm.
someone tells you that their books are up to date, and then when you get their books and they're not up to date, they need
Ever.
cleaned up. And so I had to go back a few months and redo the reconciliations and adjust some of their numbers there. And then so my cleanups, actually I have my worksheet here. So my back work, I haven't had a whole lot of back work. I probably the first couple of months, I think I had 19, well, since July, I've had about $1,900 worth of back work.
Okay.
So not a whole lot of back work. And then I got a little cafe, which this has been a lesson learned for me on quoting. So I was so excited. I walked in, handed my business card, and then they called me the next day. And I was like, oh, great. Like, okay. And I didn't pull out my paper and go through the list of questions, what you're supposed to ask somebody. I
Mhm.
forgot to ask them what what their business was. And so, and they told me they only had one credit card and one bank account. The rest weren't being used. So I quoted them right on the phone, which was my mistake. And they had seven credit cards and one bank account. So needless to say, I am I little underquoted them. So I have to go back and requote them. And I have it in my contract that I'm allowed to go back and requote them. But so currently right now, my reoccurring income is $3,200.
Okay.
So, and then once I get the big job, quoted, like signed, and stop being just like going and get everything, my reoccurring will be $4,700.
Okay. That's awesome. And
So
your
yeah.
goal is to get up to 10K pretty quickly.
10 to 12, yes. And
Awesome.
then I've been helping. So to offset some of that income though, my first month being off of corporate, I actually subcontract for another CPA. They had so many clients coming on, they just needed some help to clean up. So we came up an agreement of an hourly rate. And so I made $450 off of that client just by doing that. And
Mhm.
then I have three clients right now that I actually charge an hourly rate. Just
Okay.
they want to continue doing their own books, but they need help understanding about their books.
Mhm.
And so one company's been in business for 12 years, and I've been working with them to get their accounts reconciled, their balance sheet up to date, and that kind of stuff. So I made $300 off of them so far, and I've only worked with them, well, I 1 month.
Mhm.
And then I have two other ones that I just started, and I made another $800 off of them.
Awesome.
So, and
Okay.
then I'm helping another company come on for payroll, and so I'm charging them $250 to set them up with payroll.
Nice.
So there's like so all the side hustles that I had there, with the four companies I'm working on currently, that's an additional $1,150
Nice.
that I
Okay.
have in income. So that isn't my reoccurring, but if I can continue to keep helping clients like that at $100 an hour, flat out rate, and they, when they need help, they come back and ask me questions, and that's kind of how it works. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
yeah,
sometimes those, hourly rate clients can then end up turning into bigger engagements later as they get comfortable working with you. And then you can show them, hey, here's what I'm doing for you, but here's what I can do for you even more if we just work together on a more consistent basis. You
right.
can kind of upsell them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So remind me again, you started in February, is that right?
I signed up at the beginning of March
Yeah.
of the academy. Like, I think it was like February 28th, March.
Okay.
Yeah. February 28th, I think, is when I officially signed with the academy. And
Okay.
then I officially launched my business in like end of March, beginning of April, because that's when I got my LLC and I finally started telling everybody. And then my husband and I just say I officially launched my business in July when I left my corporate job.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, what do you think your total income or your total revenue is going to be for this year by the end of December, if you had to
At
guess?
the end of December, I'm going to say probably about 63,000, around 63, 64,000, and and that's just like within my 5 month span, without my three clients before I left my corporate job. So yeah,
Awesome. That's great. That's great traction. And usually what happens in a bookkeeping business is you double your revenue every calendar year. That's
good.
what I've done. That's what I've seen a lot of people do. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good goal. That would be like at this time in next year, if I'm making 120,000, I would be happy
Nice.
with
Yeah.
that and
Yeah.
have a team. I have a little team underneath me.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll work to streamline your work too, so that way you have maximum profit from it. Because we'd really want you to get up to like 250,000 to have like a full-time person under you. That's what
Wonderful.
makes a lot of sense. And then you can still keep a lot of the profit
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
utilize that to maybe hire a second person in anticipation of the upcoming revenue and client load.
Wonderful. Yep. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is like my ultimate goal. So yeah, so next year at this time to be 120, and have everything, um, you know, everything back and where it needs to be, and then start building a team from there. And it might even my team even building a team, bringing a few people part-time, like you said,
Mhm.
on, it might come sooner. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever can open up your schedule to help you be able to, continue to focus on growth, you know,
yeah,
that's helpful. So,
yes.
yeah. Okay. Are there any other skills or anything that you feel like you have learned or developed since growing your business and starting this journey?
Marketing. Marketing. So,
Yes.
I have found that you need to consistently market every day.
Mhm.
And when I say market every day, it's like post something on Facebook, Instagram. So I do Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. There
Mhm.
are the three that I do. Um, Facebook every day, Instagram probably about twice a week, and probably LinkedIn probably about 2 to 3 times a week. I try to do those three. Um, but marketing, I have had several people come to me and said, "Hey, I see that you're on Facebook and you're a real business. That's you're a real business." And then it takes you to your website and you can see that you're a real business. And I was like, "Okay, thanks, because I am a real business." But I did take notice, people say that, hey, you're out there every single day and you're marketing every day. And so that's the one thing. Marketing is one thing that I've learned, that if you don't market, people forget about you real fast.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. You
So yeah,
figure out a way to stay seen and top of mind.
yes, yes. So between that, my BNI, like I said, and just being very okay of talking about your business. It sounds selfish, but at the same time, it's not like you really. don't want to be selfish, but you also want people to know about your business.
Mhm.
So, and BNI allows you to talk about your business, so which is nice. And then being part of like volunteering at the Chamber of Commerce and that kind of stuff. People get to know you, like you, and trust you. And so I've gotten references, I've gotten referrals even from that part
Mhm.
of where, people started to volunteer with me and they were like, oh, wait a minute, Kelly has a bookkeeping business. Why don't you go visit her? So that kind of thing. So once again, it's marketing. Being out there and being seen is pretty much what I've learned, that if you hide in your office all day, it kind of it's kind of hard to get clients sometimes. But with online marketing, it makes it a lot easier to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, like what you mentioned, when you go out there and you talk to people about your business and you feel, like you're talking about yourself and you're selfish or selling yourself or whatever. I think, one thing that really helps is to like really reframe that and think about like these people need this help. A lot of people are really struggling in the bookkeeping department and, with their taxes, and they're confused and maybe
Mhm.
a little nervous, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to make decisions with their business because they're just looking at their bank account balance and thinking, do I have enough money or
Yeah.
cash in here to pay for it? And, not thinking ahead. And so you have to almost like brainwash yourself to make yourself realize and believe that these people actually really might need you, and you're not pushing yourself on them, but you're offering help and maybe even relief to them,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I sat with one one of my clients, like they knew they needed a bookkeeper. They knew they had to have one, but they just didn't understand the value of one. So I think I sat with them for almost 2.5, 3 hours explaining, first of all, what QuickBooks could do and trusting the system and trusting the QuickBooks system, and then of the value that I could help them and how to relieve some of the other office workers that they were falling behind on their books. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think I sat down with them for almost 2.5 hours and talked to them about that. But it's what they needed to feel comfortable
Yeah.
giving that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So how has the restaurant focus been for you? Have you gotten some restaurant clients yet?
So I have the little cafe. I've reached out. I've had a few little other restaurants reach out. I haven't been able to get them to sign, unfortunately. But the Mastermind restaurant course has taught me how to like do mass marketing and to like be able to reach out. So even some of the content of even the restaurant side,
Mhm.
I've kind of started to create it and put it just as to all bookkeeping too. So,
Mhm.
as much as, and I think sometimes it's me holding myself back because I keep thinking, oh my goodness, like I have my one little cafe and I do the daily sales and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna need somebody to help me manage more, because restaurants are more work because it's a daily task.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so that part, it's been helpful to learn different strategies to market and to learn. Not even that, but like even in the beginning of the mastermind class, being able to break down numbers for uh, businesses. So
Mhm.
when I say my little cafe, my cafe, I was able to show them like their payroll compared to their sales or their cost of goods sold and that kind of stuff. So that was very helpful. And then I do have another restaurant. The sale hasn't gone through, so the new owners haven't received the books yet. But after the first of the year, I'll be bringing on another restaurant, which is a pretty significant restaurant, like $2 million worth. So
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
That was that one kind of included in your figure of like getting to half of your goal. So that
Nope.
would be additional.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so I actually have four quotes out there that I haven't figured on my year-end number, like for like year ends. They're on my year-end numbers. But and then I have four clients that are waiting to the beginning of the year, and so I haven't counted those in yet because of, you just don't know what could happen. So, but yeah, but I actually, so yeah, so I have 4 quotes out, not even like that's not even including the one that I'm already doing the payroll for. And
Mhm.
then I have 4 more people that want to come on the first of the year.
Yeah, nice. That is really awesome.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're just on that verge of that massive snowball effect that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
that's exciting. You'll have to definitely keep me posted as these come on. So, if you get in a situation where, you get like 5 or 10 clients, like all in one month, that we can help you decide which way are you going to pivot to your team, building your team, and what you want to focus on as far as that goes.
Perfect. Yeah. That's nice to have that, to be able to have a group to go to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, I don't know how you're feeling about quoting these restaurant clients, but that extra value that you're giving them, make sure that that is built into the fee because it is really valuable information for them to have. But then from your internal bookkeeping perspective, even if you just get like 4, semi-small restaurant clients, but you charge that additional, monthly fee for it, that alone could cover almost a full-time employee for you.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the part where the academy and even the mastermind class is good to go to be able to get that insight before, getting a quote out to somebody.
yeah. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so what would you say to somebody that's watching that is considering starting their bookkeeping business, whether they have an accounting degree or experience or not? What would you tell them about hopping into the academy and getting started?
Um, Honestly, I would tell them that, like, when you're in the academy, I wouldn't wait until you're done doing all your modules. Like, just start. Just get started and learn as you go. You can always go back to the modules and review them. But the more, if you keep waiting and for the modules, you just keep prolonging your start. But jump in with both feet and just go for it. And I know some people can't just give up a job and do it, but um, if you want it enough, you'll find the time, like whether it's work in the evenings, an extra couple hours after you put your kids to bed, or a couple hours, or even on the weekends to be able to do things. But um, as you are, if when and you want to go completely, just do it with both feet, and just go for it. But and lean on the academy as much as you can, because um, that is a big help, a
Yeah.
big help.
Yeah, I love that. Everybody kind of reaches their goals with their business and through the academy at a different time. And success looks different for everybody, just
Mhm.
depending on their goals. But the one common thing I see that prohibits people from getting to their goals is the procrastination and like letting that fear kind of keep them in inaction mode, like
Yeah,
not actually following the steps. That is the only thing that will impede your success. Do
right.
you agree with that? I mean, if you
Yes.
follow the process, you're going to get clients and you're going to reach your goals. You can't give up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is that, like, if you're out there telling people about it, someone sooner or later are going to be like, wait a minute, I do need your services. And they're going to come to you and you're going to be like, okay, like, and that's where you lean on the academy and say, okay, where do I start? How do I start? And, do as much training as you can possibly do. Even with QuickBooks. I never worked with QuickBooks before I started the academy. I was always in the corporate world, which is Oracle or SAP. SAP was my favorite. Um, and so it's a little different going into from SAP to QuickBooks. But to be honest with you, it's one other thing that just challenged me, and I love to be challenged. So learning, but that's one thing you just have to always, when you're starting your own business, you definitely have to be open-minded that you're always going to be learning no matter what you do.
Yeah, definitely. There's always something that you probably don't know that is causing you to not reach your goals as fast as you want. That's been my thing too. It's like,
Yeah.
what is it that I don't know yet that is going to unlock my next level? Because that's really all it is. And when I had my bookkeeping business, what I didn't know is how to build a team. And
Right.
that's what got me stuck at the top. You know, we were making $250,000 a year, but I was getting to where with 5 kids, I didn't want to work anymore, but I enjoyed growing. You know, obviously it's nice to have more money because then you can do more things, but I also have that mindset of like, if you're not growing, you're dying. So we got to keep
Yeah.
growing. But I didn't personally want to spend any more hours into working. So I kind of got stuck there. Like, what do I do? And I didn't know how to unlock that at the time. So, you know, once I realized how to do that, and I've been able to do that and replicate it in the academy and other things, then it's, you know, taken me to the next level. But there's always something that you don't know, which is super cool. This is a whole different conversation we could have, but I tell my husband all the time, the amount of knowledge I'm going to be able to pass down to my kids if they ever want to start a business is astounding. Like they'll never
Yeah.
have to hire a mentor because I have invested so much in myself that I could teach them how to make millions, at least up to this point, right? And
Yeah.
who knows, by the time that they get to that point, maybe I'll know how to make $100 million. I don't know.
Right? How awesome. How awesome. But yeah, I mean, even to like you said, even to help your kids to even where to start with a business or how to start or, anything like that. I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, there's people in the academy that are having their kids work for them,
Yep,
which
absolutely.
is awesome. Which is awesome because, at least you are teaching good habits to your kids.
Yeah, and they always have an option. If they want to go get a job or work for somebody,
Yep.
they can, but now they know that this is an option for them and they're not stuck like we
Yes.
felt before, where
Yeah.
we didn't feel like we had an option.
Agree. Agree.
Super cool. Well, thank you so much for being on here and sharing your story. I'm super excited for how the next like few months and tax season works out for you. So
Yeah.
keep keeping me posted on how things go. And maybe after tax season, we can do another like quick update interview to tack on to the end of this.
Would love it. Well, thank you very much, Tiffany.
Yes, absolutely. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too. All
Okay, awesome. I'll talk
right.
to you soon. Bye.
Bye.